We could go into defend your squad. We'll get to that right after.
Yeah.
So we get into defend your squad, and I'm going to defend my New York Football Giants. I'm going to basically play the GM and say who would I approach and how would I try to make the team better this offseason, what I think the offseason needs for the New York Football Giants.
Mm-hmm.
So, scrubbing over the New York Giants, I think the New York Giants are in actually a very good position right now. They're going to get a top 3 pick in the draft. They're going to have a little bit of money if they're able to restructure with Eli Manning, possibly restructure with Olivia Vernon, possibly restructure with Dominique Rodgers-Cromartie if they are to bring him back.
Mm-hmm.
So we'd have a little bit of money to spend to bring in a possible free agent. But the number 3 pick is what I want to focus in on. I think the Giants have a great opportunity to draft to address some of the few needs that the Giants have. I think the Giants are not a team that's actually far away from it. They have a lot of talent. They have playmakers at all 3 levels on each side of the football. On the defensive side, on the defensive line, you have Snacks Harrison, who's the best rated defensive tackle in the game.
Mm-hmm.
You also have Olivia Vernon and Pierre Paul, who are plus defensive pass rushers in the game. Then on the second side of that, that will be the weakness. There's not a talented linebacker in that core. B.J. Goodson is a good young talent out of Clemson, but he's been very injury prone in his rookie campaign as a starting linebacker this year. But then in the secondary, they very much so have a lot of talent. Jack Rabbit is the top 5 corner. Eli Apple was a top 3 corner coming out of his draft class 1 year ago. You have DRC, who is actually one of the premier corners in the game, top 15, top 20 corner. And then behind that, you have one of the best 2 or 3 safeties in the game, in Landon Collins. And you have Darian Thompson, the 3rd-round pick, finally played a full season this year and looked like he's going to be a decent tackler. So, defensively, they have a lot of playmakers, they have a lot of talent. On the offensive side of the ball, you have Eli Manning, 2-time Super Bowl winner. He's put up a lot of yards. He's a very talented quarterback that can decimate a defense if given the right time. On the offensive line, you have 2 elite offensive linemen. Justin Pugh is a top-tier offensive guard in this league. And Weston Richburn is a top-tier center in this league. You have the young and up-and-coming Eric Flowers, who had a very promising season this year. Running back would be the weakness of the offensive side of the ball. That's where talent is a little bit questioned. We like Wayne Gallman, the 1st-round pick, who has actually played very well this season. He's made promising steps week after week. Orlando's Darkwa will be a free agent. He seems to have some talent. Shane Vereen never really got a chance to really blend his talents in the offensive system in New York the way they kind of envisioned when they first brought him in. But we'll see if he continues to stay aboard. But with the wide receivers, there's definitely a lot of talent with the wide receivers. Odell Beckham is the top 3 wide receiver in the game. Sterling Shepard is one of the best slot receivers already in his young career. And on the outside, they also had Brandon Marshall. We don't know if he'll bring him back, but he will be another talented wide receiver with that core. On the tight end front, as far as playmakers are concerned, Evan Ingram leads all rookie receivers in catches this year. So he's looking like he's going to be a promising receiving tight end in this league for a long time to come. So the Giants on several levels there in offense have a lot of offensive pieces. So for me, looking at the draft, I think the player that the Giants should aim after is linebacker Roquan Smith out of Georgia. I think he's a rarefied talent, one of these Luke Kuechly's, these Ray Lewises, these LeVar Bowman, these rare middle linebackers that come around once every 2 to 3 years and is a franchise middle linebacker for the next 5 to 8 seasons. The Giants are in a very good position to be able to pick this player up and build equity for the future. If I was the GM of the Giants, I would approach this looking to make a trade with either the Denver Broncos or the New York Jets, who have the 6th and the 8th pick, respectively. I would aim for those teams because they both will want to get the first shot at the quarterback. If the Browns are not to take of Josh Rosen or whoever they don't take, that team can now hop on it because the Giants will have the 2nd pick in the draft. So with the Jets, if the Jets like Sam Darnold or they like Lamar Jackson, whoever they do get, or whoever the Browns don't take with the first pick, they can get. What I would say that you should get from that is a third round pick and a future first round pick for your third round pick overall. So you would take their pick, which would be let's say they make the deal with the Jets. The Jets would get the second pick. The Giants would get back. I would say go after a third round pick, a future first round pick, and the first round pick that you're taking from that year. I think that would be an equal deal and the Jets would be able to select whichever quarterback they want out of the big three that didn't get picked by the Browns. Mm-hmm. And for the Giants now, they'll be in a perfect position to get either one of the top tier running backs, whether that's Shaquan Barkley, who might not be available at that time, or Darius Juice out of LSU. He's a very good looking running back. They can get him at that position, but mainly to get their hands on Roquan Smith or possibly Connor Williams, the offensive tackle out of Texas. There's another offensive guard that's with the Notre Dame, can't remember his name right now, that will be a top 10 pick. He's another person that the Giants might look at. The Giants could look at filling the hole of right tackle. I think they have filled in the 4 other slots. They just need to look at possibly getting a right tackle. And by getting these picks, they'll be able to satisfy that even in the future. And this would give them equity for the future. If they do get this future first round pick from the Jets, or even the Denver Broncos, if the Davis Webb experiment doesn't work, in 2 years you would have an extra first round pick to pursue another franchise quarterback in 2 seasons. So give them another opportunity there. The Giants can also look at Malik Jefferson, the middle linebacker out of Texas. Very good hitter. Reminds me of DeMarco Ryans that played with the Texans and then the Eagles for a while. Mm-hmm. So he's another player you can look at. Also plays like a Sean Lee with the Dallas Cowboys. He's very fast to the ball, can hit very cleanly. That's the player the Giants need. B.J. Goodson looks like he could be a good weak side linebacker. But as the main guy, Roquan Smith is clearly a generational talent that the Giants should pursue. That will be the final piece to that team. Also, I would look to, in the offseason, re-sign Justin Pugh to a long-term deal. Re-sign Weston Richburn to a long-term deal. Re-sign Orlando Darkwa to a long-term deal. Sign Odell Beckham to a long-term deal. I think that's a must. And then try to restructure Eli Manning deal. Maybe give him another 2 years on top of it to spread out the money and make sure that he stays here for the next, maybe this season and the next season as the main guy to mentor in, say, Davis Webb the same way that Brett Favre did to Aaron Rodgers. Because if back in that day, Aaron Rodgers, when he first was drafted, it was expected that he would come in the next year. Brett Favre was also in a 1-year deal. It was a thought that he was going to retire, and then he came back on another 1-year deal. Then he came back again on another 1-year deal. That forced Aaron Rodgers to be pushed back a couple of years. Mm-hmm. But in the end, look how much that benefited Aaron Rodgers. And I think the same thing could happen for Davis Webb. The defense of the Giants, which is already an elite defense, said he liked Davis Webb. I don't think the Giants should waste that pick when you have somebody that you just drafted last year that can be a future quarterback, a starting quarterback in this league, that already has been behind Eli, already been learning the system. We could possibly get somebody like a Roquan Smith as an every down player that there's no questions about. You know the talent is there. So that's how I'll kind of approach that. And then lastly, with the Eli Apple situation going on, Eli Apple being Jerry Reese's really last top tier pick that hasn't really panned out, I would trade Eli Apple for another corner. I would definitely trade him straight up for another corner. The corner that I would say that the Giants would go after, and I think a team that would actually like Eli Apple. Eli Apple is very similar to Josh Norman, as in he's a long corner that's very handsy. Mm-hmm. Eli Apple is also a very physical corner that can get very handsy and get very physical, like a Josh Norman. So I think that the Carolina Panthers would actually like a player like Eli Apple. Eli Apple being the 10th pick, he still has a lot of high equity, still a very talented corner. I think the Giants can make the trade for James Bradbury, who's a second-year player. He's a second-round pick of the 2016 draft. He's been performing very well over there, though. Mm-hmm. And a third-round pick. So the Giants will give a third-round pick and Eli Apple, and they will get back James Bradbury, or vice versa, where they'll get back a third-round pick because Eli Apple is still a talented corner, and get back James Bradbury for Eli Apple. And that's how I would kind of pursue the offseason for the Giants. Bring back Eli Manning, bring in a lot of talent to the defense, and maybe even draft another running back to compete in the back. Bring another offensive lineman to kind of fill up that right side of the line. And I think the Giants have a Super Bowl ready team. That's how I would kind of approach it.
Yeah, I think that's like those are pretty much the holes that y'all do need to fill in order for the team to be improved. Whether or not they fill in those type of ways, those are great points and views that can possibly help your team success. But I'm not sure if y'all would probably go for a linebacker. I see y'all probably going for a quarterback in the draft.
Which would make me very sad because I have nothing against the quarterbacks in the draft right now. But for me, it's like I don't know if this is the way you approach things. I approach players when I look in the draft. How talented are you? So I don't look at you by the number you're being drafted as much as how talented of a player are you. My thing is like if I was to go into the park and I was just to pick a team, where would I pick you at? Like how much would I value your contributions to the field, regardless of what round we are, regardless of what my team is. You know what I mean? So when I look at the board, I don't see any of the quarterbacks being better than some of the defensive players in the draft. So, for instance, I see like the LSU defensive linebacker. I think his name is Key. I think he's better than all of the quarterback prospects. I think the running back out of Penn State is better than all of the.
Maybe that. I don't know about Key being better than
because of what he brings to the table. Like
in a sense,
you know what I mean? Like, and the quarterbacks to me are not as polished of a player as he is. So his position. See what I'm saying? Like I know what he brings to the table. I know he does that very well.
So
with every one of these quarterbacks, there's no elite talent from either one of them.
Ain't nobody ready to start right now.
I also don't think none of them bring elite talent to the table. Like, maybe Lamar Jackson athleticism, but other than that, none of them have a big arm particularly. None of them have a elite. Like, even with last year, they felt like Mitchell Trubisky had elite accuracy. At least that was something that he can hang his hat on.
But it's mainly because this league is the way it is. Like, when you hear quarterbacks, they got to go first because you got to mature them early.
Correct.
They look kind of good, blah, blah, blah.
And I don't think they need to do that.
But I think you're looking at the
Giants. This Ryan Tannehill draft where you reach again for like a lot of people had Tannehill as a second round pick. You got drafted in the first round.
But I think the Giants
after the Dolphins recovered from that move.
Yeah, but I think the Giants are like almost type reaching in the sense like they don't know exactly where they're going to be following the path. Like Eli Manning was benched and playing, and now he's playing again. He's going to be benched again, and you don't know what you have out of your quarterbacks that you do have. You see a little bit of Geno, and they don't really see that much of Webb in real live action. So I think they most are going to go with quarterback or with offensive line. And I don't think there's really big offensive linemen here for
one time I've already heard that the defense is saying that they think Davis Webb is a future quarterback. Everybody's like to include Eli Manning. Like, why waste that equity and say bring in a Josh Rosen? What you gonna do with David Webb now? You just gonna have him as your third stringer? You gonna go do the Jets?
Yep.
We're gonna draft Geno, then we're gonna draft Hackenberg, then we're gonna draft Perry, and we're gonna have them all there, and then we're gonna cut one, and then we're gonna try to figure out another one. Like, you're not gonna get nowhere that route. You know what I mean?
It feels like that's where they're gonna head into it.
Like, I don't know why. I'm saying you have a chance now. Even if you don't want to draft the quarterback number 2, draft the running back number 2 out of Penn State, Barkley. You bring him in with Eli Manning and Odell Beckham. You have yourself almost like the Steelers got, with just levels of just offensive talent around Eli. You bring this kid Barkley to go with Ingram and Odell. That's a phenomenal, talented group there. If you want to go that route, that's fine. But there's no reason to even dump Eli. Look at Phillip Rivers and look at Ben Roethlisberger. You can see that both of them got another 2 years in them. Eli in that same boat. No need to make this mistake. Look at the Tom Brady effect of the Patriots. They've been able to collect so many first-round picks, draft them, develop them, then trade them off for some more first-round picks because they know what they got at quarterback.
I don't know. I don't think they're going to keep him. I don't see a reason why. I really don't see a reason why.
It would be a heinous mistake.
I don't see.
Heinous mistake in my opinion.
And I think I do need more help in the inside linebacker position. That was been a big struggle, especially with injuries. And when they did play, they barely play enough to understand the playbook. They were almost confused. And that's how I feel like the same thing with my Indianapolis Colts.